Hello and welcome to Forza Naples, an FC Naples podcast. I'm here with Paulie Walnuts. Paul, how you doing today?
Doing well, Ian. Super excited that we're getting this thing off the ground. Yeah, couldn't be more excited for the season to come.
Yeah, so we kind of were talking beforehand, and we were like, we got to start a podcast. Both of us being from Naples, and just we're so excited to have an actual professional team playing in Naples starting next month.
Yeah, I mean we've had the Blades obviously for a couple decades now, and those games are a lot of fun. The Firecats came and went. A couple other the Tampa or the Tarpon. And
Yeah,
obviously we got some baseball around us, but none call Naples home. They're all Southwest Florida, so it's really cool having a team in the city um, to call our own. And I think the city's really going to embrace having a club here.
yeah, we've seen that so far going to a lot of the events the clubs have been putting on, and it's just seeing the whole community come out and the soccer community. I mean, I grew up playing youth soccer in the area, and to see people from that and also just new kids and families that have moved here that are so passionate about soccer and a sport that we both love, and seeing soccer that seems to be on such a rise too within the US, it's exciting to have it here.
It's the perfect time for our team. We've America's got the Club World Cup next summer or this summer actually. I can't believe that's almost here. And then the World Cup in 26. It's if we've talked about it before. If soccer doesn't catch fire in the U.S. Now, it won't ever. So
Yeah.
Naples getting into the business now. And it's almost fitting for Naples that it's the second tier of the USL. It's almost like a fitting, quiet city, quiet, with fans that are going to really rally behind the lads out on the pitch and see a community grow. And it seems like that's what FC Naples has been about too, is community outreach, community involvement.
Yeah, it's been really cool to see a club be so involved in the community. I mean, right from the start when they announced the team and putting together a whole, celebration about a year ago, I feel like we were out at Paradise Coast and it was the team was here, and then they putting on all the listening sessions, encouraging people to put down their season ticket deposits, and then announcing the team name and logo.
Yeah, and they've done a great job with the outreach. The season tickets, very very reasonably priced.
Yeah.
Games are going to be very affordable to go see, which will be cool. And we both have our seats in the garden patio, which should be hopefully a fun environment week to week.
Yeah, I'm just so excited to have a couple beers outside, watching the boys on the pitch, cheering them on.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see the environment and just the wide range of people we saw at the jersey unveiling.
Yeah,
It's not just one demographic, and it seems like we got some folks that are ready to be rowdy, which is going to be, I think what most people are excited for is the atmosphere that soccer brings.
yeah, the
Is
drums,
unique.
the flares, the
Yep.
flags. You don't get that at minor league
Nope.
baseball or
Nope.
hockey, or it's unique to
Nope.
soccer.
I mean, do you still have your Vuvenzuela from
Oh
2010?
yeah,
Those are going to have to
I
come back
can't
out.
wait to break those out.
Something just other than a cowbell. That's all we
Yeah,
see in American sports is a cowbell. So it'll be cool to have lively crowds, and it just be interesting to see the talent that they bring. We see it with the Blades. The hockey team is that people want to be in South Florida. If you're going to play semi-professional sports, or low-level professional sports, why not do it in Southwest Florida? So I think you'll see people worldwide being like, "Oh, I can play soccer in South Florida. Like, sign me up."
yeah,
Uh,
it's the
so it'll
place
be
to be.
cool. Yeah, great place.
Yeah, especially no offense to the other cities within USL League One, but I think out of all of them, I'd want to live in Naples. I mean, I'm a little
Well,
biased having grown up here, but
yeah, a little biased, but Chattanooga is a great city. I would go see the boys on the road there, but it is an interesting group. Were we the only expansion team into USL one this year, League One?
No, there was a few. We've got Portland up in Maine, Portland Hearts of Pine, who do have a great logo. I mean, I love the FC Naples logo, but Portland Hearts of Pine, they came through with that. That's a pretty sick logo and pretty sick kits they've
Yeah.
created. Not as cool as our kits, but
No.
I got to give
No.
them credit where it's due.
Yeah, if I didn't leave my jersey back in Naples, I would be wearing it. I'd be sporting it right now. But yeah, so what's that? Bring the league up to 14
Yep. So
members?
then we've also got AV Alta out in California and Texcoma FC. So it's the league's grown. We did lose two teams, and we were actually Naples was actually able to pick up a couple players from them with Northern Colorado and Central Valley Fuego going defunct or not participating this year.
Well,
But
it'll be interesting too, because we see that in the ECHL all the time as teams coming and going. So I really think as long as there's a USL, I think Naples will have a place. I think that there's enough support in the city and the community. Even in the down years with the Blades, I mean, they still get good crowds,
yeah,
especially with less matches. I think they played 22 in League One last year, so I would assume it's the same situation. We play everybody twice,
yeah.
so
I
maybe
think
up
there's a
to.
couple that are three times. And I apologize to Westchester SC. I forgot you on the list of expansion teams this year.
You gotta feel for those fans. Gotta show our respects. Um, who's going to be our rival? That's what I was looking, and that was the downside to the geography of the league. Is I don't know who we're going to hate the most.
Well, we have to hate Tampa Bay Rowdies. We play them in the Jägermeister Cup this year,
Yep, that's an obvious one.
north of 75. And then you've got the
Yep.
Alligator Alley Derby with Miami FC, Miami, who we also play. But other southern clubs, you got Greenville, Charlotte, and South Georgia Tormenta are all pretty close.
Mm.
But I feel like we're going to have to develop and kind of create this rivalry over the years.
Yeah, it'll take a while, and hopefully we get to the point like we are with the Blades, where everybody that comes just hates us because we're the best. So I'm
Yeah,
hoping right from the jump, we'll make our mark known in this league that it's, everybody's competing to dethrone us. Um, It'll be interesting too because it's not traditional soccer because it's a playoff format.
yeah.
Um,
Last year was the top 8 teams made the playoffs. I'm assuming they'll stick with that same format. So looking at the schedule, actually, we have, Chattanooga Red Wolves is who we open up with March 8th at home. And they were one of the teams that didn't make the playoffs last year. But with the expansion and kind of the changes within the league, it'll be interesting to see how they come out. But then second Saturday of the season, we play Forward Madison, who's one of the better teams in the league last year. I believe, yeah, they finished third and were pretty close to making the final. We're in
Yeah, I
that
think they
playoff
got
run.
bounced in the semifinals.
Yeah,
I forget, it was the 7th seed that made the run um, to the
Spokane
title.
Velocity.
Yeah, another team with a cool logo.
Yeah,
They had a cool one. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see because I think that we do need to value, not only winning in the regular season, being top of the table, but then in American fashion, winning the playoffs and winning that championship too.
yeah.
Uh,
What would you right now? Here we are,
oh,
about a little over a month before the season. Where do you expect FC Naples to finish first season, and what for you constitute a successful first season?
man, going for the hard hitter right away. Obviously, gotta just fans right off the rip need to have a championship or bust mentality. Um, Although that's not really realistic year one. I think a playoff appearance would show success, and that's without seeing any of the guys. Haven't seen them on the training ground, haven't seen them play a match yet, have no idea what the recruitment level to provide the team we have. I think that I think realistically having our sights on a top 8 finish
Yeah,
would be a successful inaugural season. Um, Yeah, you
And I
can't.
think we've seen it's doable too. Like we said, Spokane was able to come in and finish in the seventh seed last season, make the playoffs, go on a
Mhm.
bit of a run, and we've seen other teams throughout the years join this league since its founding and put together nice little runs and make the
Well,
playoffs
and we're gonna have a steep advantage late in the year. You think guys in Spokane are ready to come down and play on the 95-degree turf that we've got at Paradise?
Yeah,
Like, I think that once we get in, we will have a unique home field advantage
with that
over a
heat and
lot of these
humidity.
teams. A lot of them are more northern cities, and I think that they will struggle coming down to the heat. So once we get to the playoffs, then that's when you can have kind of that lofty, you know, it just takes one um,
Yeah,
to get the ball rolling, and once you're in, and that's you know, my love hate relationship with the soccer dynamic of and that's why I like that they have competitions. So there's the league, and then you got cups. Um, love just the idea that anybody that gets in could win it, but also valuing soccer traditionally values the regular season and domestic leagues. So
yeah,
uh, we got to take every game seriously, and I think we will see probably some significant home road splits for us, just out of the pure fact that it's going to be hot. March will probably still be normal, but once you get into late April and then May through the summer, it's going to be hot. And I think teams playing for 90 minutes is a long. I'll
yeah.
be curious to see if they implement water timeouts throughout. I imagine they're going to have to
Yeah, I'm sure
playing
if
in.
it's over a certain temperature, having watched in the league last year, if it is over a certain temperature, I think they have a mandatory water break,
Yeah,
just
which
like we did as kids playing.
yeah, so I think that's where I see it, making the playoffs, and I think being good in your first season is important to just rally the supporters. If we go out there and aren't don't start out super hot, or have a weak first season. I just don't want people to give up on soccer in Naples because of a slow start or a rough first year. Um, and hopefully we have a high powered offense too, because I think that will also drive support. But I think that with our coach's background, I think we'll have a hopefully a really good backline defense.
Yeah,
And looks like I saw, haven't spoken to the man, but saw that he likes to run the 4-2-3-1. I think was the is what he'd been using in the past. So I think that'll be an interesting shape for the club.
yeah. He comes very highly regarded, it sounded like, from Chicago House was the his previous club, a NISA team, which we'll have to get into the whole NISA drama some other time because there's a lot to unpack
It
there, it
sounds like
seems.
he was a part of a soccer TikTok group. That's when I
Yeah.
when I saw that club name, I was like, "Is that a soccer TikTok house?"
But
Um,
he came very highly regarded. When they announced the hiring, there was fans of that team reaching out and saying congratulations. You got a real quality head coach. And I know, having spoken to him briefly at some of these events, he's got a place on Marco, likes to spend his summers here. He's familiar with the area, so it sounds like he was the right man for the job that they brought in.
Well, I read too. He coached the Marco Island High School
He
team.
did,
I
yeah.
think both boys and girls, the district champions. And for those of you around Naples, will know that's some feat. Winning at Marco, at that school is impressive.
Yeah.
So
Especially with the quality of soccer we have at the youth and high school level here in Southwest Florida.
yeah, I think too, and it sounds like they're going to do a really good job. I think of recruiting the person, not the player on the pitch. So I think that'll be important. I think hopefully hoping for some good chemistry. Um, and it's always better when you got good lads running around the pitch that are good people, you know, highly regarded in the community, and it'll be cool. And I imagine they're going to do a ton of kids camps, and I think that you know having a guy like him will be very beneficial to the community.
Yeah. Yeah, it seems like they're going to try and get that community buy-in. and that helps too if you do ever have a down season to keep people around when they see these players and coaching staff and the team in general out in the community, which I know the Everblades, from seeing them doing things like the teddy bear toss and just the community
Hmm.
outreach, has been awesome from them. So I'm looking forward to seeing FC Naples match that.
Yeah, and it's been cool. They've kind of supported each other, kind of both at
Yeah, tagging
which
each other
is
in Instagram posts, and
yeah,
it's been
and doing
fun to see.
events together. I can't wait to get Swampy out on the grounds and see what he can do. Um, what about you? What are your thoughts? What would be a successful year one for this club?
Yeah, I think we got to win it all.
All right, you
Regular
gave me a look
season,
when I said that,
playoffs.
and yeah, okay, cool. So we're on the same page that
Yep, yep. I
it's
think
win
we
or
got to.
bust.
It's title or bust.
Hmm.
No, realistically though, I do think if we make the playoffs, have a competitive first season, and we're just not a bottom dweller, so to speak. Just getting out there, being competitive in games, and winning games basically. Making the playoffs. If we win the first play, I'm sure the first playoff game would be a great crowd. Um, but
Did they
yeah,
do? How did they do it? USL, are they one and dones? Are they best of threes? Are they a home and home? What did you see that?
I believe it's one and done. We're still
Okay.
trying to kind of figure out the whole USL League One and USL Championship. We've kind of gotten a grasp for it, I'd say. Um, but I know there's been lots of changes, and there's still, because another thing that the club will be competing in outside of, we've got USL League One, the regular league.
Yep.
We also have the Jägermeister Cup, which is playing against other teams within the USL, which is why we're playing, Rowdies and
Hmm.
Miami FC. But then we'll also be in the US Open Cup, which I believe starts around the same time as the start of the season, and that's teams from all over the country are able to compete in that. So I believe the first round is amateur slash semi-pro teams against pro teams, and that's where we'll get dropped into that competition. But that competition seems to change every single year, and no one really knows what's going on with it yet. So we'll have to stay tuned for that.
Yeah, and hopefully we'll get to see, that U.S. Open Cup too. I know there's a lot of debate with the MLS being, we're not going to send our ones, which would be really unfortunate, especially, you know, uh, you know, watching European soccer. I get that domestic cups aren't always the most important thing. There's sometimes there are more important things than your domestic cups, but towards the end, you want to see the best of the best, and it would be really cool to host, a New England Revolution, a Chicago Fire, one of these
Yeah,
MLS, big clubs coming down to South Florida, would be a really cool environment. Having them down in Naples, and maybe they'll stay at the Great Wolf Lodge. Cool
yeah,
little water park. They'll be tired, and then they'll have to go out into the heat, and it'll be a recipe for our
yeah.
success.
The slides will wear
So
them down, and then we'll win the U.S. Open Cup that way. I love it.
Hopefully that the team has a good hospitality package that includes sending teams to the beach, getting them worn out prior to match day.
Yeah, a
But I
couple
think
rounds of
that'll
golf, and yeah,
couple rounds of golf, yeah,
wear them way
and
down.
yeah, so it'll be interesting to see how the U.S. Open Cup evolves. Then the other thing, I thought this where you're going, you went to cups, but it'd be really interesting to see if they do end up adopting a relegation system in the USL.
Yeah,
Seems like that's an answer they don't have. They don't have that answer yet because based on my homework was that they need to figure out the money. How's the money gonna work when you go up or down?
yeah,
I don't think it'll ever come to the MLS. I just don't think when you got people spending $1 billion on a club, like they don't want relegation.
right. They don't
Um,
want to. They don't want to be coming to Naples every other week.
no, but I do think it would be really cool in the USL to just have that model of um, have that have that and have aspirations, right? Making coming in the top four or even whoever, you know, maybe they do the table winner, whoever wins, the regular season top of the table, and then the second. They don't even have to go so drastic because there's less teams, right? Obviously, a 3-3 in the Prem
Right.
League, like you're probably not going to see that, but you could do, hey, the team that comes kind of like the automatic bids in college basketball. Hey, you win the table in the regular season, you're up. If you win um, You win the playoff after you're in, and if it's the same team, then it goes to a second, or you figure out how that's going to work. And I think that'd be a really interesting
Yeah,
system. And then in the top flight, you could do almost a relegation playoff. The bottom teams play in a playoff, and now we're talking more games, more money, and that could be an interesting way of Americanizing relegation too. Even if you're the worst team all year, you can go on a hot playoff run and stay up.
yeah,
Could be an interesting.
very interesting.
And I think
And
that
it
cheers the way.
seems like, to USL's credit, they have been willing and able to adopt to make things work across the board, whether it be the regular season,
Mhm.
whether it be how many games they're playing. With the introduction of the USL, the Jägermeister Cup now, it seems like they're willing to try new things. So who knows in a couple of years what we'll
So
see from them.
this is year one of the Jägermeister Cup, right?
This will be
Or is
year
this?
2, but
Yep.
it'll be the first year both the championship and League One are playing in it.
And there's another tier below, right? There's a League Two.
USL League 2, but that's more semi-pro.
So I imagine that'll be the next edition. They'll probably try to do
Yeah,
something with them in the
bringing
future.
them
But
in.
yeah, great having both league. That's the beauty of European, uh, domestic cups, is watching this second, third, fourth, fifth tier team, go to Man City. Even if there's no hope that they're going to win, just the idea that you can go play against these clubs is a really cool. It would be really fun playing Tampa Bay.
Yeah,
Playing the Rowdies, right? Like the only real soccer team in Florida for a long time. Um, so it'll be cool playing against them. And then what's it, Miami FC or Mi-
Miami FC,
the Miami FC, not to be confused with Inter Miami.
right?
Messi will not be making his way to Paradise Coast as a
To their
player.
credit, though, FC Naples does, or Miami FC does actually play in Miami, unlike Inter Miami, who plays in Pompano Beach.
In Fort Lauderdale, yeah.
Yeah,
So over under on games that Messi will attend. Do you think it's if I put it at half? Do you think he will come to one game this year?
I think I'd have to go under. I know there has been reports of him and his son playing, or his son's team playing in Naples, but I can't see him going to a game that he's not playing in. I mean, I hope I'm wrong. I hope the over hits, but
So no on Messi. Yeah, it would be really cool to see. I doubt that there's any reason that he um, would be at Paradise Coast unless he was at the Great Wolf Lodge, hanging
yeah.
out and heard some commotion and we were loud enough to draw. And man, yeah, that'd be an interesting, be a zoo having him show up.
Yeah. Well, hopefully they have Mick Ultra on draft because apparently that's all he drinks according to
That's
the
all he drinks.
commercials.
That's true. What are you most looking forward to for the season?
I'm looking forward to having a pro soccer team here in Naples, and then just being able to go to these games and bring. I grew up going to hockey games up the road in Estero with the Everblades with my dad, and those like having those great memories of being a kid at those games with him
Mm-hmm.
and seeing so much cool stuff and thinking it was just the best time. So I'm excited to bring my son to these games and just embracing this team and having a great atmosphere.
Do you have to have a ticket for Thomas, or what's the deal?
No, I'm pretty sure under 3 is still free,
Okay.
so we'll have
Okay.
to see how long he stays 3 for. But if you're
Um,
listening, FC Naples, that was a joke. Um,
yep. Yep. He's
but
definitely still under 3 right now. Can
yes,
confirm. Can confirm. Um, yeah, I
but
agree. I mean, we grew up going to those Blades games together. Um, I'm obviously flying in for game one. I don't know how many games year one I'm going to get to go to. Um, but definitely, once that March 8th date was announced, booked my trip back, and very much looking forward to seeing the energy in the crowd. Um, you know, hoping that the fans bring the energy that soccer is supposed to have. And
yeah,
Naples is obviously an older community, but hopefully there's some life at these games, and um, a little bit of rowdiness.
Yeah.
Obviously nothing super vulgar, no bad behavior, no fights, but pushing up on some fun chants.
Yeah, a little bit of banter at the other teams, and
Yeah, and Naples could end up being a destination that people fans go to, or who wouldn't want to go to Naples. I'm not saying that would be the reason. Um, you know, you wouldn't fly to Naples for an FC Naples game necessarily, but if you're in the area, you might pop over for a drink, check it out, and hopefully we get good crowd sizes throughout the year.
yeah, it should be exciting. Um, Looking forward to just that first game and seeing the whole, Naples community come out and support this thing that I think the club as a whole has done a great job of promoting themselves, and also like walking through Mercado last night and seeing FC Naples banners everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Just kind of getting out in the community. It seems like they've done a great job getting the community involved, but also like kind of bringing the community into with them, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And they're very active on social media. Whoever runs their social media account, we're going to have to get them on the podcast at some point because um, their social media outreach has been incredible so far. Their advertisements have been good. I do have some complaints about the website. Every time it asks me to sign up to stay up to date, and I am already signed up and I am up to date. I do get those emails. Um, Even after I signed in, like, oh, do you want more newsletters? And it's like, okay, not quite, but yeah, they've really done a great job. And even just seeing the owner around and hearing him speak and his excitement um, is exciting to be around. And somebody with that much success in the business world, it's you know hard to believe that he's not going to put that same passion and energy just seeing him at these events into
Yeah,
the club.
yeah, it's exciting to say the least. Um, yeah, hearing him speak at all of these has been. It seems like he really means what he's saying, and it's refreshing to see.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Well, I think that's going to do it for our first ever episode. Just kind of an intro to who we are and what we'll be covering. We're hoping to be back again soon and kind of go more in depth into the couple of the signings and maybe try to pick out our first starting 11 for that first game, March 8th.
Oh, we're gonna go with the starting 11
We're
this early. We don't even have confirmation on our shape, and we're gonna go into a starting 11.
we'll just start projecting and seeing what we would do as the armchair manager. But
Can't wait to be an armchair manager and picking the lineup based on the coolest sounding names.
oh
Um,
yeah, and our,
and
our
hope
brief history of looking up these players and
Yeah, hopefully we can have some cool nicknames for the lads, and maybe some regional chemistry that could lead to a good pairing, and it'll be interesting to see.
yeah, well, we're looking forward to it and looking forward to the season and looking forward to continuing to grow our little amateur podcast we've started here.
Amateur podcast for our new team. That'll be a good time.
Oh yeah. Well, Paul, thank you so much for joining me here on our first ever episode of Forza Naples, and thank you all for joining us, and we will see you soon.